Hi, welcome to our Capital Imaging Services third quarter Chief Chat. I'm happy today we have Kristy Trieu. She's our Senior Vice President of Human Resources. And I'll just tell you a little background first on Kristy and I's first interview. So I was in an airport picking up my wife and her flight got delayed. So I had jeans, a t-shirt on, I think I probably had a hat on or something. And I'm like, hey, I'm going to pick my wife up and then I'm going to go home, change, put on a nice shirt, take a shower, and then I'll interview Kristy for the HR position. Well, it got delayed and delayed. So literally our interview was me on a FaceTime with my phone, and I look like I just got out of a field like baling hay or something. And it was a great interview, and I loved it because, man, it was like I could already tell you were enthusiastic about HR and the job. And so anyway, that's what, man, I felt you were a great fit for our organization. Tell me a little bit about yourself, and if you want to, tell me about your family and all that, but then if you want to tell me how you got into HR as well, you can just follow up with that.
Sure, absolutely.
Yeah.
So Kristy Trieu, I joined the company about 6 months ago, maybe a little bit longer. And you're right, I remember that interview as well. And it was so fun because it felt like we were just already working together.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah, we were just having conversations and strategizing about what comes next. So it told me it was really the place I wanted to be.
Cool.
So I've been in HR probably 25 plus years. I don't want to date myself too much, but I really just got into HR. I fell into it a little bit. I was working at the newspaper years and years ago and got promoted into an office manager role and kind of got a taste of what HR was all about and found out that I was actually kind of good at it. And it was something I really wanted to learn and explore a little bit more. And just over the years, I've grown into, a senior leadership capacity. And it's really just coming from my love of people and my true desire to help everyone achieve their full potential.
Cool. Now tell me about your family, though. I know you have kids,
I do,
husband, so tell me about that.
I'm going to be celebrating my 20th wedding anniversary this year.
Nice.
We got married 20 years ago in Vegas.
I love it.
So it was a lot of fun.
But it was planned?
It was planned, yeah.
Yeah.
But I have two kids. My daughter just graduated high school. She's heading off to the University of Arkansas in the fall.
No tears?
Not yet. It's coming, though. And then I have a son who is 16. He's going to be a junior, and we're going to start the college process on him as well.
Awesome. All right, Kristy, so I know you had many opportunities, different job opportunities. What attracted you to CIS? So if our employees are listening right now, what made you want to come with Capital Imaging Services?
I think it was really two things.
Okay.
Number one, this is my first time working in healthcare.
That's right, I forgot.
Yeah. So it was an opportunity to do something that felt bigger, that felt like it had a greater purpose to it. And I just really felt like that was something that was truly appealing to me. But the second piece was the growth. I am not one to sit still. I don't want to be in a job where I'm stagnant, where I don't have something going on. I'm always looking forward. Right. And really, Capital Imaging just has that growth potential. In that interview that we talked about, I could see the vision, I could see the passion that you had for the company and where we're going. And that's exactly what I was looking for.
So we only grew at 40% on your first day, so pretty much. So.
On my first day, I think we've doubled in size since I've been here. We always use the expression, it's like drinking from a fire hose, it's also just a lot of fun.
Cool.
And when you have the right team behind you and working with you, it's the energy that you need to kind of keep boosting you and moving forward in the company.
For sure. All right, Kristy, so I know you had many opportunities, different job opportunities. What attracted you to CIS? So if our employees are listening right now, what made you want to come with Capital Imaging Services?
I think it was really two things.
Okay.
Number one, this is my first time working in healthcare.
That's right, I forgot.
And so it was an opportunity to do something that felt bigger, that felt like it had a greater purpose to it. And I just really felt like that was something that was truly appealing to me. But the second piece was the growth. I am not one to sit still. I don't want to be in a job where I'm stagnant, where I don't have something going on. I'm always looking forward. Right. And really, Capital Imaging just has that growth potential. In that interview that we talked about, I could see the vision, I could see the passion that you had for the company and where we're going. And that's exactly what I was looking for.
So we only grew at 40% on your first day, so pretty much. So.
On my first day, I think we've doubled in size since I've been here. We always use the expression, it's like drinking from a fire hose, it's also just a lot of fun.
Cool.
And when you have the right team behind you and working with you, it's the energy that you need to kind of keep boosting you and moving forward in the company.
For sure. All right, Kristy, so I think you alluded to earlier in the Chief Chat, you've been here a little over 6 months now. So tell me, how have your first 6 months been? Like you said, you're drinking through a fire hose, but tell me a few specifics in there, that things you've accomplished, and maybe during that time frame, and your biggest accomplishment year to date. How's that? So.
Yeah, so it was a lot. When I walked in the door, we had just acquired a company, and it was about 130 employees, and so day one was just jumping in and getting going, and it was so exciting. There was a lot going on. We had another acquisition since then, bringing on another 100 and some people. So there's been a lot of activity, but we're also really spending time building the foundation. And so, CIS, as you well know, grew from a much smaller organization into now what it is today, about 800 employees. And so a lot of the processes that worked for smaller organizations really don't work anymore.
Right.
And so I've spent a lot of time developing and building a team and developing scalable processes that we can use to continue to grow the organization from the people side for years to come. I would say probably one of the biggest accomplishments so far is this leadership development program that we just put into place. We call it the Image Program. And we just started it. Our first session was in May. Our second session is coming up here in July. And it's really an opportunity for our leaders of today to develop into the future senior leaders of tomorrow. Right. And I'm just really excited about what that's going to mean for the company. The ultimate goal of the program is to develop everyone. So anyone who has that desire to get into leadership, we have a path for them. And so I'm really excited about what that's going to do for the company in the years to come.
Yeah, you did it. I mean, I'm going to brag on you a second. I think you did a great job, even the naming of it, Image, because we do images, MRI, CT. I thought it was awesome, just sort of a play on words, but also what that really meant, and what we're trying to do as a company. And I told you it's something I've had a passion for, is training our next leaders for a long time, and you help actually bring that to fruition. And so I think that's a huge accomplishment for us as a company. I was telling somebody just this week about us doing that, and they're like, man, that's so good. Y'all are training within, trying to find your next leaders. And I was like, our goal is to promote from within if we can. If we have the people in the organization to accomplish what we need, we definitely want them before we go grab somebody outside the organization. I think you have that same vision, which is why, I think we've developed the program. But kudos to you. I'm going to brag on you a second, and it is a great accomplishment.
It is. It feels good.
Yeah. All right, Kristy, I know that was a big accomplishment, but you've done a lot in the first 6 months, just trying to, like you said, get us more where we're scalable, whereas we add a lot of employees that we can still, instead of, hey, everybody call John and see if we can hire somebody, we need a process in place. So, what do you see happening in this next 6 months? Like, are there 2 or 3 things you want to try to accomplish in the next 6 months?
Yeah, I think the first one, and it's starting soon, is really looking at our benefits. So April-ish timeframe of this year, we actually sat down and hired a new benefits broker and consulting firm that's going to help take us to that next level when it comes to benefits.
We interviewed, 6 firms?
Yeah, 6 different firms.
Yeah.
We picked a firm that we think is really going to help get us where we need to go. So we want to look at trying to improve our benefits where we can. We want to make sure it's still a cost-effective option both for the company and for our employees. I think that's a really big thing, because we need to see them as the whole. We need to see them as who they are and what they need, and making sure we're meeting those needs.
Right.
The second thing I'm really going to focus on, I think, in these next 6 months is employee engagement and building our culture.
Cool.
And so even at the Image Conference, we've been talking about culture a lot. As we grow, culture becomes harder and harder to maintain. And so I want to make sure we have a clear path and direction on how are our employees feeling today, and how do we want to make sure they continue to feel, or what are the things we can improve upon so that we have that culture that leads us into the future.
Right. No, that's awesome. I think I think through the image program, you asked them to go back and interview some of their employees, and the answers we received, I don't think we all know what they are yet. You're going to present those to us, but it'll be interesting to see what they feel like our senior leaders, focus on, or that our company focuses on. And I'm looking forward to hearing that feedback. And then how do we, if it's good feedback, how do we expand on that? And then if it's more things we can work on, how do we improve on that?
Right.
So
I like that. And I'll give a little spoiler too, is that when we asked employees what do they think we value, the number one thing we heard was patience. And
that's
honestly,
cool.
that was exactly what we wanted to hear.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's who we take care of every day.
Yep. Exactly.
All right, Kristy, so I asked you about your first 6 months, and I said, hey, give me a couple of things the next 6 months, and let's look a little bit into the future. We're about to have strategic planning with all our senior leaders, and it's a very important time for us because it's like, hey, what are we going to do in 2026? And it's hard making everybody focus on 2026 because you're like, hang on, I'm still in 2025, and it's like, yeah, I know, but we have to figure out where we're going next. So tell me where our HR, our employees, where are we going in 2026?
Yeah, so we're really looking to continue to build on what we've started. So I always kind of say we start with the foundation. You have to have a solid foundation before you can build anything on top of it. And so we're going to continue to build that foundation and then start kind of growing it from there, making sure we're creating processes and things that are scalable. But none of that's really fun and exciting work.
Right.
But the other part is, as we continue to acquire companies, I really want to make sure we're doing our part to bring them on board in a way that makes them feel valued and special and a part of the CIS culture from day one.
Right.
So we're working on building out not just processes, but communication strategies and ways of welcoming people to the organization that feels like they're part of something much bigger.
It's a scary time for them typically. So, I mean, it's probably I always love when we go in places because they're like, man, I don't know if I'm keeping them. I was like, man, we need you. It's like people like texts and all that. I'm like, man, I don't have texts in my pocket. I need you here. We want you. So how do you feel like, how would we accomplish that? What is can you give us one thing you're thinking? Or I know I'm putting you on the spot here.
Not at all. We're already talking about it. But to me, it's all about communication.
Okay.
We've got to make sure that we are communicating directly to the people and not just through their leaders that are already on site. That's a big part of it. But how do they know who we are from day one?
Right.
And how do we communicate with whether it's FAQs and other email type communications, but also just being there? Can we be there on site for some of these folks on day one or day 5? To say, hey, it's me. We're not just a person in an office.
Right. I think that's something I feel like we can get better at too. And I think we just saw a recorded new orientation videos. You want to tell them a little bit, and that'll help in that process as well. So do you want to tell them a little bit about that?
Yeah, absolutely. We're really just trying to work at making this a more welcoming environment. Again, when you're a couple hundred employees, the way you do things is at this level, and we're trying to get to that next level. And so we want to have an orientation video, an onboarding program that allows every single employee walking in the door to have a very similar experience.
Right.
So it's not just dependent on what each manager is doing at each site.
Right.
It's something that's scalable.
Right. Well, thanks for spending time with me today. I love Chief Chats because I always learn things about people, even though you do an interview and all that. But it's just really, I love it because like you said earlier, I feel like I hope I have passion for CIS, and then I feel your passion, and it gets me fired up. So it's like I love that, and that's what I feel about our whole senior team is everybody's passionate about where we're going as a company. But thanks for being part of our third quarter Chief Chat, and we look forward to the fourth quarter. And I don't know who we're interviewing yet, but we'll let you know soon.
Thanks.